A federal government, state and local government councils share 750.174 billion naira for the month of January. We have 1.8 billion litres of PMS for February and March, says NNPC Limited. Capital market working to develop products for the younger generation, says Securities and Exchange Commission SEC. Asian markets fall as investors digest private surveys on factory activity. The program is Business Express and we're reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Leah Katungbaba today. You're welcome. We'll begin by informing you that the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee (FAC) at its meeting on Monday shared a total of 750.174 billion naira to the three tiers of government as allocation for the month of January. The amount comprises gross statutory revenue, value-added tax, electronic money transfer levies, augmentation from non-mineral revenue, and an additional sum of 15 billion naira from savings. The communique issued by FAC at the end of the meeting indicated gross revenue available from the value-added tax for the month of January 2023 was 250.009 billion naira as against 250.512 billion naira distributed in the preceding month, resulting in a decrease of 503 million naira. Accordingly, the gross statutory revenue of 653.703 billion naira received for the month was lower than the previous month by 482.479 billion naira. Petroleum profit tax, company income tax, oil and gas royalties and electronic money transfer levies all decreased marginally, while import and excise duties increased marginally. Balance in excess crude account as of February 20th, 2023 stands at $473,754.57. And how much is the naira exchanging for the currencies? Let's find out. It is said that money is not a solution, but a tool to offer solutions to problems. This means that if there is no problem, then one would not need money. This is why Business Express for today will be taking a look at financial discipline. And of course, this is coming at a time where a lot of Nigerians are in need of cash. To speak on this is the founder Mentorship Hub Network, Don Eugene. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you.
So perhaps we take our cue from the prevailing circumstances a lot of Nigerians have found themselves in, which has to do with the scarcity of naira. So when we say financial discipline is at play for many Nigerians, what does it mean?
Basically, let's don't go academical over what financial indiscipline is. The truth is just how, the basic fact is how you manage money practically. For me, I think people are made up of nature and nurture, and one of the reasons a lot of Nigeria was hit in this economic crisis because of our nature of financial recklessness. A lot of us have seen ourselves grow up with the fact that every money that comes to our hand, we spend virtually everything, thinking that it's going to be the same windfall every other day. And then we come to the days where money is scarce, and even the physical naira is hard to get right now, and everyone is running from pillar to post. So it is important for everyone to start learning the financial lessons that are supposed to be taken from this season, that every money that comes to your hand, there is a part that's supposed to be for savings, there's a part for your need, which is your recurrent expenditure, your basic, and there's a part that's supposed to be for your want. So I have a principle I usually call the 50-30-20 principle, where your 50% is for your basic needs, your 30 is for your want, and the 20 is for your savings, which and at a time like this can actually come handy for you.
But a lot of questions, of course, will be, what I have, it's not even enough for me to spend at this point. Do you get people to make such complaints?
Yeah, that is normal. Like in our organization, we train a lot of youths, and one of the first things that they say is, "I don't have enough money." Then I often tell them that you don't save by amount, you save by percentage.
Okay.
If you decide to say, "I want to save a XYZ amount," when you have 10,000 naira, 1,000 naira looks small, but if you're telling yourself you're saving 10% of everything you earn, like I said in my principle is 20%, you discover that you are following that principle, which is why we're talking about financial discipline, because it's actually a life skill. The way we have other life skills that saves you, financial discipline is a life skill, because 70% of your life decision is based on finances. Whether who you marry, where you settle, whether you decide to jackpot out of Nigeria, is basically driven by finances. So if all your life, the greater percentage is going to be driven by finance, I think it's important that from a young age, you start taking some lessons on how to manage finance practically. So to answer your question, if you think you don't have enough, if you can't save a percentage from the little you have, even if you have much, you won't be able to save. So the discipline is not in the amount of money, it's in the percentage that you've told yourself, I must save this amount from whatever comes to me right now. There's something I told the people I was having a training for at the beginning of the year. I say, look at what you've earned throughout the last year. How much passed through your account? The easy way to do this, you just check your account statement and you see the summary. If you have a certain amount, maybe in 6 figures or so, pass through your account, at the end of the year, how much was remaining? You will see, when I did that 3 years ago, it actually opened my eye. I saw some very good amounts in 7 figures pass through my account, and at the end of the year, there was nothing really to show for it. So I decided, thank God for the particular bank I was banking with, they have what they call spend to save. So I activated the 5% of every money that goes out of my account. There's a 5% that goes to another account for savings. It was me telling myself that, let me use a figure for example, I can't have 10 million run through my account at a period of time, and I can't even show 500,000 that was saved. So that means I am earning to consume. So, and that will not suffice for your future. So it's not about how much you earn, it's about the discipline to say this particular percentage of what I earn must be kept for investment or for tomorrow.
Okay, so when the government came up with through the central bank with the issue of the cashless policy driving it further, we noticed in all across the country that, just as the CBN governor said, a lot of money is outside the banking system. And then when you speak to some of these people, they will tell you, hey, I don't trust the banks, so I don't want to put my money there. Where is the safest place to keep your savings?
Like I said, I think that I'll go back to my code. I say people are made up of nature and nurture. Nature is how you're born, but nurture is what the environment. I think those people who have the sentiment of not trusting the financial institution is because of the for nurture. The environment has trained us, maybe due to from our parents or from the society at large. So I think it's to re-educate them. The truth is there are a lot of risk in keeping your money outside the financial institution. There are different ways, there are different non-banking institutions that you can even invest or save your money. You can use the bonds and every other one. Depends on the purpose and how long you want to keep the money. But the issue, thank God for this Naira swap, which has actually rendered a lot of money invalid for those that are using the orthodox ways to keep money. But I think times have changed. What was useful 10 years ago might not be useful now. The strategies that maybe your parents use to save money and build their houses might not be fixable right now. And one of the problems that we have is that people are trying to use old keys to open new doors. They are trying to use those old financial knowledge they have because they've not updated their operating system. They've not updated their OS when it comes to finances. They've upgraded the kind of clothes they wear. They upgraded the kind of food they eat. But they've not upgraded the knowledge they have about finances. So they still want to keep their money in their purse or dig the ground and keep it. And times have changed, and that is a very wrong approach to go about money in this generation.
I think I love that line, using old keys to open new doors. I'm going to take a mental note of that as well. Thank you for borrowing me that line. But when we go back to this discipline that we're talking about, there's also the impulse, because now technology has made it easy that you can actually do your shopping globally from your phone without having to go anywhere. That impulse is there. So how does one balance this?
I think it's very easy. If you follow that principle I talked about, the 50, 30, 20 principle, I said the 50% is your need, the 30 is your want, the 20 is practically your savings. Now the 50, what do I categorize as need? Is your shelter, the things that you actually depend on for existence. That is your need. The want are things that you really don't need them to live, but they will make your life better. So for example, you want to change your phone, is a want. If you can accommodate it, you do that. But then, so now, if you understand your need, understand your want, you're not going to just have an impulse buy because you go online. Once you can categorize your money, apportion them into different accounts also, and know that, oh, this is for my recurrent expenditure, this is for my basic need and utilities. Once you exhaust that, then you can categorize what are my wants. You make a list of my wants, and then, oh, you feel like taking a cold drink and it falls under your want. But without it, you will still survive. So that's why it's not a need, it's a want. But then when you're talking about savings and you know what, so the truth is that impulse buying only comes in for people who have muzzled up all their financial expenditure together. So you don't really know the difference between what your need is or what your want is. So you keep money aside. After 2 weeks, you spend it for one of the most reckless or irrelevant things because you've not really identified the thing. So I think the basic underlying cause of this is the lack of financial literacy or financial information. Thanks and no thanks to our upbringing, like I train a lot of teenagers, and I've discovered that most of our parents have not even raised us or raised our teenagers to have the money knowledge or know how to handle finances. Some of the teenagers have never been given maybe a certain amount of money for them to make a life decision with it, whether to invest it or to spend it. So you just give them money for school fees, for books and everything. So when they get there, when they get to that point where they are earning money, they think every money that is given to them is to spend, because all the money you give them for 20 years was to buy something to do. So you've never given them 20,000 and say, I will ask you at the end of the month what you did with it. Because there's one thing for you to instruct them, because it's like a coach and a mentor. If you're a mentor, you can tell them, okay, I give you this amount, go and put it here. But if you're a coach, you're giving them the money and you are coaching them to do what they want to do. And just tell them, I want you to multiply this money, or I want you to make a better financial decision. So the adults we are seeing today were the teenagers that were not properly taught yesterday. Yeah. So for us, we have a responsibility to teach the younger ones have to have a better relationship with money, to understand the importance of money. That is my
okay. So I would want to also ask you this before I let you go. We've seen the cash scarcity push people to sort of make adjustments. So you're prioritizing where you're going. you're prioritizing what you're buying, you're prioritizing basically how you spend your money. What is the factor at play here?
I think for some people, it's just that physical lack of money that is bringing these adjustments. But for the ones that, I'll use an example of about 2 years ago, the COVID. When COVID came, people made life adjustments. Some people improved their life and has maintained that adjustment, while some, they revert back to the old ways immediately after the lockdown eased. So for the same thing, when this cash is much available after the election, so people are going back to their old ways to spend on irrelevant, but some will understand that, wow, this is possible. So that means I could actually have lived on this amount of money. Now I can stay for 3-4 days without spending physical cash. So that means you can't just be driving on the road and see one woman selling something by the roadside and just throw 500 naira out of your window. Now that means you can leave the house in the morning and come back. That is a discipline. But so what I'm encouraging everyone to say, this is a lesson. You can decide to complain all day, but you can decide to learn valuable lessons and see that everything that comes to you, you can either learn lessons from it or just complain about it. So I will encourage every Nigerian to see this scarcity, not just from the hardship, but also see that it's possible for you to live on a budget. It's possible for you to go about your day on a budget. So the era of just having money in your wallet or in your purse and you throw it at everything that comes your way should be a bygone in your life after this whole process.
Okay, I must sincerely thank you, Dan Eugene, for making out time on the program. And I'm also hoping that perhaps what you find after this whole exercise, you'll be willing to share with us.
Yes, how we do that at any given time. My last word would be, if you know better, you do better. So I would think that everyone should take our time. Thank God we all use smartphones. Finance play a major role in our life, and everyone should take our time to watch a video, read 1 or 2 things about financial literacy or so we can make better decisions and make better use of the money that comes our way.
Thank you. I will also take that advice and imbibe it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on, towards upholding the rights of patients in Nigerian hospitals, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has inaugurated the Patient Bill of Rights in Public and Private Hospitals in Kwara State. Executive Vice Chairman FCCPC Babatunde Rukera says the domestication of the bill will lead to improved health care delivery services in Nigerian hospitals.
Complaints about any dissatisfaction should start in the institution, especially because they've created the framework and the channel to receive those complaints and to address them.
There's no doubt that the relationship between the patients and the practitioners and the patient outcomes will be better.
In its continuous efforts at sustaining the supply of petroleum products nationwide, NNPC Limited says it has put in place a robust plan for the supply of petrol from mid-February to March 2023. Latest updates released show that NNPC Limited has a total of 1.8 billion litres of petrol stock. Steel and energy oil prices rose more than 1%, buoyed by optimism over Chinese demand, continued production curbs by major producers, and Russia's plan to rein in supply. Brent crude settled up $1.07 at $84.07 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude for March, which expires on Tuesday, last rose 85 cents at $77.19. Let's now take a trip to the commodities markets. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) says the capital market is working to develop products that will make the market attractive to the younger generation. Director General of the SEC, Lamido Yuguda, noted it will help to further deepen the market. He added that youths must understand that the capital market is a viable platform for wealth creation and assured that the Commission and the market are working on how best to serve them. The Nigerian exchange on Monday closed positive amidst buyer interest and sell-offs as the bulls dominated proceedings, driving up the broad market. The opening figures this morning show that the all-share index appreciated by 0.78% to open at 54,224.35 points. 154.6 million volumes of shares valued at 5.5 billion naira in 3,096 deals exchanged hands. In the same vein, market capitalization increased by 228 billion naira to close at 29.53 trillion naira. And global market update is next.
Investors will be keenly watching as the U.S. Central Bank releases minutes from its latest meeting on Wednesday. European markets closed slightly higher Monday after a choppy day of trading, with intention this week set to be on the publication of Federal Reserve meeting notes. Asia-Pacific markets were mixed on Tuesday as investors await regional private survey for factory activity. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index led losses in the region as it fell 1.75% lower. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 fell 0.21% to end the day at 27,474.10, while the Shanghai Composite appreciated 0.49% to end the day at 3,306.52. U.S. stock futures fell Monday night following a week which higher interest rates kept investor sentiment in check. Dow Jones Industrial Average futures dipped 163 points. S&P 500 dipped 0.56%, and the Nasdaq futures also pulled back by 0.51%. U.S. markets were closed Monday due to the President's Day holiday. For Africa, markets opened mixed, with Namibia's overall index opening positive, while South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 resumed negative. Bossede Able, Business Express.
Thank you, Bossede, and this is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. And of course, we have this program also on our social media platforms. We return Wednesday at 3 p.m. But before I leave, let me sound this note of caution. Burning banks and other business premises is never a solution to the current cash crunch, as these will further send the money away from your domain. Arson is criminal, and of course it is an offense in Nigeria. Be wise and don't fall into the arms of the law for the wrong reason. God bless Nigeria. I'm Leah Katimaba. Have a good day.